Welcome back to Freedom Finance with Lanny, guys. Late night video. Want to get some content out for you guys. And we're going to continue the thread, continue the trend, continue the conversation on the stock market, on the S&P 500. A lot of friends, family members, Twitter community, YouTube as well, have been asking, is the stock market overvalued? Is the S&P 500, which holds the top 500 companies here in the United States, is that overvalued right now? With the AI-driven current economy right now, think NVIDIA, think Broadcom, think a bunch of the big dogs right now in their Microsofts. Is the stock market overvalued? So we're going to talk about it a little bit because stock market's up almost 11% here to end quarter one. I mean, keeping that up, that would be pretty hard to do, be pretty wild, especially after 2023 finished up 24% for the year in the S&P 500. So guys, let's have a conversation. Let's continue this talk, guys. Grab your favorite beverage, your beer, your liquor, your wine, because you're Italian this weekend, baby. Grab some coffee, grab some water, whatever, suits you right now, guys. And let's talk stock talk. Let's get in. As I said, the stock market is up 10.7% this year. Blazing right now. That is a strong first start of the year. The stock market was up 24%, as I said earlier, in 2023. And if you remember, and I've been saying it on a few videos now, after the market's been up over 20% in a prior year, 67% of the time the market does finish positive the next year. We're also in an election year. 83% of the time the election year produces positive returns in the S&P 500. The question is, how will we finish? We could still finish greater than 0%, aka we might finish the year down from here on out, but still finish positive for the year. So the next 9 months will be very pivotal. And, I was looking at multiple.com and the price to earnings ratio, the PE ratio, which is a strong metric that I use, that many investors use when evaluating dividend stocks and indices to see if something is undervalued or not. Historically, we like to see a PE below 20 times earnings. You take the stock price, you take it over earnings, and that's what a stock trades at. How many times their earnings do they trade at? So with the S&P 500, you take the overall S&P 500 and the overall earnings. And what does the overall S&P 500, the top 500 companies, currently trade at? So currently it's at a 28.5 PE ratio. That's pretty high. Traditionally, again, you like to see it in the 18 to 22 range. And given the ride up, ever since the beginning of 2023, here we are, a 28.5 price to earnings ratio, fairly high, fairly inflated. Now, the question is it overvalued? Is the stock market overvalued? And, from looking at the charts, usually there's some room to go before you might see it come back down. The last time it was at, this type of ratio was, during COVID, during 2020. And it rode up, to close to 40 times earnings in 2020. And then once earnings started to be better after COVID in 2021, the PE ratio came down. But then 2022 happened and we finished in a down year. And then if you go back before that, you're talking financial crisis. You're talking 2008, the last time, I think, according to the chart that I'm looking at, that we were at the 28.5. Now, it still had plenty of time to ride up a little bit more from a price to earnings standpoint in the S&P 500. But then it obviously comes shuddering back down. Now, this is not a doom and gloom. Is this overvalued? Sell now. Don't buy any stock. Stop. Because you guys know that's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm here to tell you. But I'm here just to say, hey, Is the stock market overvalued? Let's look at the top 10 companies, guys, in the S&P 500, because it's purely dominated by tech. As I pull up my spreadsheet, you'll see me look over there off to my left. You can go on the Vanguard's website. We'll talk about VOO, the Vanguard's S&P 500 ETF, which I buy every single day, $60 a day, on the SoFi investing app. Link below in the description in case you're interested to use SoFi. It's a set it and forget it strategy. I buy it every single day. You could buy as little as $5 a day if you want, without even thinking about it. So the top 10 holdings in the ETF, guys: Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, Amazon, Meta, Facebook, Google, Berkshire B shares, Google Class C shares, I think. Somebody correct me on that. Eli Lilly, and Broadcom. So those are the top 10 holdings. Outside of Eli Lilly and Burke, you're really looking at heavy tech. And what I wanted to do quickly for this video to really help take an overall assessment is, each one of these stocks, what do their price to earnings ratios look like? What do those PE ratios look like that help show if something or a stock or a company is undervalued? These top 10 holdings, by the way, make up 32% of the S&P 500 composition. One third of the value is derived from these 10 holdings. And that includes 2 from Google. So let's start with Microsoft, the big dog here right now. Their PE ratio at the time of this video, according to analyst estimates, so I'm using 2024 estimated earnings here in the future here for the full year. Their PE is at a blistering 39 times earnings. So already starting off higher than the S&P 500. So that's what's probably swaying the S&P 500 already. Apple is pretty much right there with the S&P 500, AAPL at 28.2 times, the second biggest holding. The third biggest holding is Nvidia, and they're at 40 times earnings. So between them and Microsoft, definitely tiding the wave into that higher PE ratio territory. Amazon, based on, again, Yahoo analyst estimates for 2024, Amazon, AMZN, 47 times earnings right now. Facebook/Meta, 26.2x. So lower than many of their other peers right now, which is pretty interesting. Let's slide into Google. This one's pretty interesting. This one catches my eye a little bit. According to those estimates for 2024, Google's only at 22.2 times earnings. So the lowest of the bunch so far, and makes you go, is it time to buy Google stock? Just, bookmark that one. Bookmark that comment. Are you guys buying Google stock? Let me know in the comments, guys. And then you got Warren. You got Burke B, baby. 23.5 times earnings right now in Berkshire. Lower than the S&P 500 and the second lowest in the top 10. Interesting. Then Google, the other class shares are at 24.2x. Eli Lilly in that 9th spot. The stock price is insane. I did not even think that they were trading at that high stock price. I'll throw it up here on the screen. But they're at a 62.3 times earnings. Eli Lilly. What? And then you got Broadcom, AVGO is their ticker. 30.5 times earnings. So when you think about it, with the exception of Google, Burke, and Facebook, because, Apple is right there with the S&P 500. Those 3 companies were lower than 28.5 times. So is the stock market overvalued? Well, 7 out of 10 are riding high. They're high growth stocks, high tech stocks with high price to earnings ratios. I don't know. That's not the stock market being overvalued. The numbers, the analysis would show possibly overweight, right? It's possibly overvalued versus undervalued. Now, what are you supposed to do? Well, I don't work at any of these companies. I don't have any other, not to say inside details, but I can't guess on which direction the stock market's going. Mr. Market will go where they want. Black swan events do happen, as we know. So I'm still buying the S&P 500, the overall stock market every day, $60, no questions, no asks. It's definitely harder to find an undervalued dividend stock or an undervalued stock in general in the stock market right now. It is harder than ever. Well, I'm sure there's been some more difficult times, but it is definitely hard right now. Do you think, though, the stock market's overvalued? Or can you not determine it as well? Similar to me, is it too difficult to determine? Are you here not to determine it and just to buy the market no matter what? Turning off the noise, rinsing and repeating, aka, earn, save, invest, repeat. That's what I'm doing right now. What are you guys doing? Wanted to make this a quick video. Wanted to give you my take, a little bit of analysis to it, and I'm curious on your take, guys. Thanks for rocking with me. Subscribe to this channel, like the video, and again, let me know if you think the stock market's overvalued. Are you still buying the S&P 500? I'll catch you on the next one.